Comrades, I am Admiral Andre, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. I'm so enthused by our South African experiments in the previous video that I want to continue them and take them a bit further today. Now, there are some ideas that we can adopt and then build on, but obviously the RSA 4 that we built in the last episode was the fullest extent of the planned rockets for the South African space efforts. However, there is, I could find at least, a private company that designed possible rockets for use by South Africa. It's a South African company. It's based in this country, so I assume it's a South African company. And they proposed to build the Cheetah rocket. Well, there's several versions of it. It's a liquid-fueled rocket. Now, obviously, so far we've only built the solid-fueled ones. And if we really want to get serious about space, we have to get a liquid-fueled rocket. So that one will give us the inspiration for it. Now, as far as I can see, the company died out in 2014. And as is often the case in South Africa, marvelous ideas die silent deaths and nothing ever comes of it. But anyway, that's the thing. There's also now the idea that I had possibly, I don't know if we'll get to it in this episode, but I'll show you the background of why I have this idea. We can build a capsule, a crewed capsule that we can try to use with our RSA 4 rocket. And there's also an idea for a space station, a South African space station. However, these things were never really planned for. So there's no official thing, not even a private company that ever planned for any of this stuff. However, there's a television advert in which obviously the advertising agency that made the advert for a product or a company called Chicken Licken, selling fried chicken, they show it's obviously now a whole, advertising issue thing. They're selling their product, but they show a very interesting design for a capsule and a space station. Now, these things are not based on any real stations or capsules, although they did steal the Soyuz rocket for their advert. So that's the closest thing we have to a South African capsule and space station. It's sad to say, and as I said now in the whole description that we'll get into in a minute, I do envy our comrades from the USA and Russia and China and the European Union and Japan, who all have either space stations or modules attached to the ISS, and we have a Chicken Licken advert. That's the best we've got. But I suppose there are other countries that don't even have that. But anyway, I'll try to take those ideas and build on them. And possibly one day when we've built the ISS in Kerbal, we can add a South African module as well. But for now, let's just try and build a crewed spacecraft and attach it to the RSA 4. So I'll show you what I have in mind in the next segment. And once we're done there, I think actually the first thing we'll have to do is hire some more crew because they're all on Mir at the moment. And then we'll go to the VAB. So see you in a minute, comrades. Comrades, so having done a bit of research in other options that we can pursue for our South African rockets, I found a few newspaper articles referring to Marcom Aeronautics and Space. And this one is from 2011. This one is from 2012. Now they say there was a development of a rocket engine in support of a Cheetah 1 satellite launch vehicle, a two-stage expendable launch vehicle designed to carry up to 1 ton to low Earth orbit as South Africa moves towards greater self-sufficiency. Now, obviously, this is a private company, so we can't really say it's like the South African Space Program or something, but possibly it could have used this rocket or this launch vehicle. But now, as far as I can see, this whole thing has died out. It's completely gone. They still have a website, but it ends in 2014. You see, they even have a Twitter feed there. And on the bottom, copyright 2012 to 2014. And then it disappears. And you can also not find really any information on Mark Komninos, who's the owner of this company, after that date, really. It just says he's still the director of this company, but oh well. This is certainly not advertising them, but it's very interesting because we can pursue this as a future development of South Africa's rocket technology. Now, luckily, they do have very, well, at least they have some images. I won't say very detailed information on these rockets. But the first one is the Cheetah 1 CSLV, Commercial Space Launch Vehicle. So, in now moving beyond the solid fueled rockets that we've taken from the past, and moving towards liquid fuel, we can take this because there is nothing else I can find if you search South African rockets or anything like that. There is nothing else. I know there's a university in KwaZulu-Natal that's working on sounding rockets because we don't really even have those at the moment. But that's obviously not in the class of an actual launch vehicle. So this is the next step for us. At least we can sort of claim it as a South African design, maybe, even though the owner here, if you go to the mission, not the mission, the team, the owner here is, well, he is South African as far as I could see. He went to school here, but he studied in the USA. So we'll still claim it as a South African launch vehicle. I mean, if you look at the front page, they even have the flag there. I know they also have the Australian thing there, which worries me a little, but everything here suggests South African. That's why they also have South African news on their Twitter feed. SANSA considers SA space launches. Of course, we saw previously yesterday that nothing ever came with that. But yes, so it's not Australian, it's South African. Now, if we have a look here, the first vehicle here is the Cheetah 1. Now, what I'm going to do here, because they don't give us as much information as the RSA 3 and all of that, we're just going to sort of use the outline and see what we can do. Now, on the payload side, they say the usable diameter is 1.6 meters. Now, we know that our smallest practical launch vehicle size, well, we can go for the very tiny one, but it's the 1.25 meter diameter. But because we still want a wider payload capacity, we're going to go for the 1.875 meter diameter, the new making history diameter for the upper stage. The usable cylindrical length now for that upper, or the payload, is 2.4 meters, but that will depend on whatever we want to send into space. Then, okay, conical length and all of that, maximum acceleration, that's not really relevant for us. But it does say here at a 200 kilometer orbit, 34-degree inclination, the goal is 1,000 kilograms. So we'll go for that. We're not going to worry about the inclination, but let's say a ton, because then obviously it gets less the further out you send it. They even have one for the space station orbit that can send 810 kilograms. So maybe what we also can do eventually when we build the International Space Station, we can use one of these launch vehicles to send a module from South Africa. Now, obviously, that's not real history there, but as the expansion name says, we're making history. So we can add some more modules to the International Space Station when it's done. 2 stages, etc., etc. Now, if we look here, then we see, I'm going to have to just guess again the length here. They don't give us the length of the booster itself. I'll probably use a skipper engine on the bottom. Then this will be the full-sized Rockomax X200. Then we'll use an orange color here because we don't have blue colors in the stock game. Then a little bit more than the adapter. Then I'll use an engine plate and then whatever length of tanks we want there. So I'll have to guess, comrades. But then after this, we can go to the Cheetah 2-4 CSLV, I guess 224. So various versions of it. Now, I have to say again, none of this was ever built. This was only planned. But I think where the company died out is, as this article says, News 24, they needed at least R500 million to make a vehicle ready. And I assume they never got that. That's why the whole thing just died and nobody's ever heard from them again. But I'm still going to use this as an inspiration for our South African program. Now, this is the next step, I guess, Cheetah 2, 3, and 4. Now, that depends then how many boosters you add to the side. But this one can take 2,000 kilograms to low orbit, and I assume these are solid-fueled strap-on boosters. They don't say, they just say strap-on boosters. So, for our case, we can use some derivative of the RSA 3 or 4 for the solid-fueled strap-on boosters. And then, yes, at the center we see again there's one engine. And then it goes narrower again. Now, I'm not sure again, what is the usable diameter is 2.6. So in that case, the upper stage is going to be 2.5 meters for us. And then the first stage will be the 3-meter diameter. So this is really another step up. Then the final one is the Cheetah 5. Now, this one reminds me a lot of the Delta, the Delta Heavy in the US. It has a central core and then 2 strap-ons that are basically identical, the same engine as well. Its usable payload length or diameter is still 2.6, so we'll still make it 2.5 because that's the closest we have. So these must all be 3-meter diameter parts. So it will go narrow, and I guess it's the same as the Cheetah 2 to 4, the upper part, but the lower one just has these liquid-fueled strap-on boosters that are the same as the core stage. Now that's it. That's all I could find, comrades. So we're going to build on this. I think this is an interesting addition to us. Now, there is one more thing. Let's say we want to send up a crewed module or a space station eventually. What inspiration do we have for that? Really, there is only one thing I could find. If you actually search for South African space station, you're not going to find anything, not even a design, not even a plan, nothing. There's nothing. So I really envy our American, Russian, Chinese, European and Japanese counterparts who have all either space stations or modules attached to the ISS. We have nothing. We don't even have an idea. However, if we go to YouTube, then I will find an advert there. I'm not going to play it here. They'll say I'm stealing their ideas or their copyright or whatever. But I'll show you a few screen grabs from that for inspiration. Now, it's something I referenced before. It's a Chicken Licken advert, if you believe it or not, for fried chicken. And in this, they show South Africans going to space. There's a station and there's a refuel mission that's going to orbit. And they are taking the fried chicken to the crew on the station. So yes, that's the premise anyway. But it does give us an interesting glimpse. Now, obviously, that's a complete fiction made up by the advertising agency, but it gives us an idea for a design for the South African space station. So I'll just find that quickly, and then I will show you that. Right, comrades, here we are. If you want to have a look at this, it's the Chicken Licken Afronauts Left Post Productions video. You can just search Chicken Licken advert South African. You'll find it somewhere on the list. Now, we're just going to jump around. So there they show the interior of the space station. Now they talk about there's a need for a refueling mission. It's classified, of course. And let's have a look. Now, they steal the Soyuz rocket there, at least the idea for it. You can very clearly see it's the Soyuz. But once they get into space, they show this craft, which as far as I know is not based on any real one. So this gives us an idea for a module or a space capsule that is sort of ish South African in origin. Again, this is now very much grabbing at straws here, comrades, because again, there was never any design or idea even for a South African manned space mission. So now let's fast forward a little bit on this thing. Then we see there is the spacecraft approaching the station. Now I can't tell if this is a 1 or 2 or 3 crew craft. There's only one person in it in the video, but there are 2 people on the station, so I assume it's a 2-person craft. So we might use the Gemini capsule for that. Obviously, we can't copy this exactly, but it gives us an idea. Then it has, of course, the small docking port on the top. We see some RCS jets there pointing sideways, so it's on a 45-degree angle pointing to either side. Then also, let's just see if we fast forward a little bit. They show us here on the screen what the station looks like. There it's now docked and they're all happy. So there is the craft with the fuel tank and the engine on the back. And there's the station. Now again, this is not a real station. There's never been one like this before. That's why I thought, hey, it's a good idea. But the credit obviously goes to Left Post Productions who made this advert. So it has a section on the front that's basically the same diameter as the spacecraft. And that's also where the solar panels are. Then it has a wider diameter there and then a slightly smaller diameter back section, but it's wider than the part in the front. So unfortunately, that's going to mean probably I'll have to use panels on the back. And it sort of does look like it's made of panels there. So this will be the 1875 meter diameter. This will be the 2.5 that we will use for a hitchhiker container. And then I'll put panels on the back, probably another 1875 tank, but then covered with panels to look a bit wider. Then we'll also put the engine on the back. They never show the engine, but obviously they're docked there, so I assume it obviously has to have an engine somewhere, so it will be right there, but a small one. That's why we don't see the nozzle. Now at the end of the video, okay, yes, there's the disappointment. They take the 2 chicken burgers up to space and then they find out this other guy has eaten it already, so it's empty. If we find the one, there, it's just crumbs left. So that's the punchline of the ad. But right at the end, they do again show the station. If I can just find the frame where they do that. Somewhere. Now I don't want to play this thing. I might have to though. Okay, let me just find that. It's a very short frame where they show the station again. Okay, well, I had to look around a little. That was a different version of the ad. They didn't show this final image here. So this was just Chicken Lick and Afronaut. I assume this is a longer version of the ad. So here we see the closing shot, and this is again the capsule. This is the best detail we can get on this thing. So there's the capsule, it's docked there. It has this little section here. That's obviously where we'll put the heat shield. Then this back thing that's also made of panels. It seems 6 of them, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess that'll be good enough. Then we have the engine. But we don't see an engine on the back of the station, so it must be a very small one. So this part is longer than the back part. And the panels, there's 3 segments to it, but it's very wide. So I guess we'll use the 2x3 panels. I'm not going to use the mega ones. That will look wrong here. We can't see if there's any RCS on the station, but we do see something right there. But I might put it on the back here just because it's closer to the center of mass. So this part will be habitable, this part will be, and this will be the engine and the fuel tank. At least it gives us something to work on, comrades. But first of all, let's try and build a capsule that's sort of inspired by this, but still uses the RSA 4 solid-fueled rocket. Now, again, it's going to be a bit difficult to get to orbit, but I assume we'll be able to do it because this thing will have its own fuel. Now, we know there's RCS on there, but we don't see any solar panels on this thing, so it might have to use a fuel cell. Interesting. Well, comrades, there's something. Let's get into it. So comrades, here we are in the VAB. We can see all our crew are currently on assignments, all in Mir except Valentina, who's still in the space shuttle, all on her lonesome. That was just to do another test of the space shuttle. There's nothing on board. So now we have to hire, I think, let's take 2 crew members here for our mission. Now we'll need a pilot. So let's have a look who's available at the moment. Agavin, Burfal. I like names that I can at least roughly pronounce. Jen Week, no. Bebo, sounds too much like Bieber. Sully Kerman. Agabo. Let's take Agabo. She'll be our engineer. She's extremely stupid, which is unfortunate, but okay, there is someone. Who's gonna be our pilot? Agavin and Agabo. I guess so. Agavin is not that stupid, at least. So there's our 2 crew members for our South African mission. Now let's go to the VAB. Okay, comrades, I think because eventually we want our capsule to be the same diameter as the space station, or at least the front of it, let's begin with that. Instead of then building 2 space capsules, we'll just use the one. Now, the best one I think has to be this one. I've got the South African flag also there. So this is obviously the Gemini capsule. So we can say South Africa has adopted that idea. If they could build a rocket under an Israeli license, I assume we could figure out a way to build a capsule under an American license. So now on the front of this thing, obviously we need the docking port. Now let's see, it's obviously got to be the small one. So we'll have to put a small port on the space station as well. So that's that. Now, can I maybe play around with this to see if we can make it look a bit nicer? That's not really necessary, but I suppose we can do that just to be different, you know. Now we need that back part that we saw in the video. So obviously again, a heat shield. Technically we could get away without a heat shield for this kind of low Kerbal orbit, but it's best practice, I think, to put on a heat shield, especially with the extra heat that I put on in the settings for the save. So let's just use 100 ablator. I think that will give us a safe margin. Now we need some kind of parachute on this thing, so it's going to have to be on the outside. I'm wondering, could we use a... I never know where to find that. The service module. Although that's going to look very weird. I know it's now on top of the docking port, but this is just a test. No, the angles are all wrong. So that's the top of the craft. We won't put anything else there. So parachutes, I think just 2 of the radial mounts will probably have to be good enough. Let's have a look. So we'll put them on and just try to make it look relatively nice. Now, of course, we didn't see any of this on the video, but that was just an advert, so I wouldn't think that they thought of everything. Although it did look like they had a service module on the top. But then again, I'm not precisely recreating that. No, it's still not straight here. Okay, let's move it out a bit. Well, that'll do, comrades. There's our 2 parachutes. I know I always prefer to hide them, not to have them stick out like that. But in this case, we're not going to put a parachute on the top. No, I'm happy with those. So with that said, let's put a decoupler on, but I'm probably going to use a small one. Maybe even the smallest one, because that gives us more space to move it in. Now after that we have the sort of end. It's very much almost like the Orion spacecraft. I'm just having a look at it again, because it has the capsule on the front and then a thinner diameter tank on the back. But let's put an engine plate here to make it look nice. I wish we also had an engine plate for the 1.25 meter diameter. It's only for the 1875, which is unfortunate, but there we are. So now let's move the whole thing up a little, since we do have the space for it. So it sits nice and flush on the back. Like that. So obviously not decoupling. Let's just see how much space do we still have if I turn the shroud off. Not much, but maybe we could fit a battery or two in here. Probably not, no. Well, the plate itself is not doing anything. It's just a structural element. So let's take 4 of these. And whether the RSA 4 can lift this is another question. It's made to lift only 500 kilos. But at least we saw it could do it to 1500 kilometers. No, this is not going to work. Nope. Put the shroud back. And let's just continue. Now, what diameter will this be? Well, the only option we have is the 1.25. But then we'll surround it by plates. Unless we just put the plates, but with a smaller diameter tank. The Oscars maybe. Because this is basically the thing that we'll use like that. But I think the plates are not going to cooperate. Because if we use 6 sides on the thing, although again that's not necessary really, 6 will not be enough. No, they still have this little gap there. And the bottom and top of the tank will still stick through there. But we can't use 8 either. Unless, yes, we can use 8. We're going to make this 8-sided, comrades. This is not even an official design anyway, so we can be creative with it. Now it's not going to let me take it out any further. It's got to be difficult. Let's put it there then. Yes, then we will make it look dark grey. That's the closest to the metal shade that we saw in the video. So then I'll take another set of this. And, oof, why is it not snapping nicely? Well, we'll just have to move it a little. Okay, there's the... come on, now this is like sideways, this is now vertical. I have to redo the whole thing. It's probably not gonna want to do it that way. No, it's not. Hey, why is it difficult? Come on now. No, then it's gonna be like that. Well, I guess we're using it horizontal then. Close enough, doesn't matter. I'm just curious to see if this thing will fly. Now, snapping here is again a problem. Strange, there's no music. Alright, there we are. Now we can still maybe put some batteries in here. Let's take 4 of them. I don't think we need so many. Then I'll just move them in a bit. since we do have all this space there. Now, how are we going to end this thing off? What could work here? Maybe more plates? Yes, I think so. Probably the best solution there. And it's still the same thing. Oh well, comrades, it's just gonna have to be vertical and horizontal stripes here. Now this thing clips horrendously, of course, but I have sort of an idea for that, to cover it up at least partially. Now, will that work though? Because again, we don't have a 1.25 meter engine plate. Just give me one symmetry. That looks a bit strange. And we still get the horrible clipping. Even if it's a fictional craft from a television ad, I still want it to look a bit nice. So how do we do it? I think it's gonna have to be, but we can't do 4 times symmetry, it's 8 or 1. Doing this in 1 time symmetry is gonna be a pain, but okay. Comrades, I'll skip this part for your sake. Okay, it's there now, but very ugly still. Let's see if we can make it a bit nicer. Now this is of course where the benefit is of using 1 time symmetry, because you can make them all slightly different heights, so you don't get that clipping effect. And it's barely noticeable. Just like that. It's metallic plates anyway, they do sort of have an industrial pattern there. Move that in. And then this one, we could possibly just put an engine on the back. We don't even need to have another plate there, because all we have is this hole in the middle. Industrial. So yes, what engine, if I go back to the video, it's a very narrow nozzle, so we can't really use something like the Terrier. Terrier is too wide, of course, even if we move it in. Possibly a Thud, although the Thud is offset, that's the problem. What else could we use? Doesn't help to use this, because that could look okay, but it's not, it doesn't have gimbal, at least not on all axes, but maybe that's okay. Let's turn the gimbal off, and then we don't even get fuel here, even though it's full. The plates don't transmit the fuel. So let's see if we'll have to use a fuel line. Oh well, of course I did a test before I started this episode, that's how I know this. So, oh no, it doesn't go all the way. Let me just try something here. Yes, it does work. If you hold in shift you can move it. I saw this on Matt Lowndes' latest video. I have to give credit where credit is due. So now, we can't see if the torque is good. So we'll use a fuel pipe here. Hey, I'm South African, so I'm building a South African rocket. I guess it's as good as any other, since there was no capsule ever. Now, maybe we'll do it from the bottom up. Hey, the South African National Space Agency should hire me. Don't you agree? At least it'll be something. I can't say it's gonna be perfect, but I'll get us somewhere, and I'll keep trying until I get it more or less right. Now, can I just... the viewing. The angles. I need to just see the engine. Can I... Strange. It doesn't still transmit the fuel. Now, why is that? Maybe because it counts as a decoupler? Yes, you see the tank is attached to the plate, and so are the structural panels, so they're not attached to each other. But the plate doesn't transmit fuel because it's a decoupler. That's what's going on here, but now I can't say enable it like you can with a normal decoupler. Well, you know me, I'll find a way. Might take 3 hours, but I'll find a way. So where can we attach? It's difficult to say what's going on here, so it's not going to help if I... Oh, would it help to attach like this? From the tank to the plate. It's going to stick out though. No, still no fuel. Still no fuel. How did I solve this in my test? I attached it to the plate there. But that was not, that was the space station that I built. Nope, nope, nope. Give me a second to figure this out, comrades. No, I think it's just going to be easier to attach the engine directly to the tank. Just remove the problem. Best way to find a solution. So yes, we'll just have to now play around with this, but luckily Kerbal Engineer gives us the torque, the offset of the engine, so now we know exactly what we need to do to nullify that, so to find the center. So that's almost there. Okay, about there. Let's try sideways. 50, 40, 30, 20. Okay, 29 is the closest. 13, 10. Okay. Eesh, it's a bit finicky here. 005, that'll do. That is the closest. So now we just move it up so just the nozzle sticks out here. That actually looks nice. It looks like it's got some piping running in there. So there is our engine that gives us 872 meters per second. Let's hope this is enough to add to the RSA 4 to actually make orbit and return. I still don't like these parachutes. Nope. I'm going to, again, we'll have to suspend our disbelief, comrades. We'll just have to pretend the panels of the outside of the capsule pop off when the parachutes deploy. Just like that. So they are in there inside this panel, but the panel falls off and then the parachutes deploy. It just looks better this way. Okay, we're getting there. It actually doesn't look too bad compared to the video there. So now let's just have a look. We need to find the center point. Okay, it's a little too there, so we'll just put it here because we need the RCS system. So we still need an RCS tank. That only doesn't even have any. Maybe we'll have to put less fuel on then. Okay, let's go inside here. Oh, this now undoes all of my work here. There, now we still have this. I want to keep this. Let's just use less fuel. So in this case we are going to use the FLT 100. Maybe I'll first put the RCS thing in. So which one is the right one now? This one. Yes. Doesn't have to be full. So that one is attached correctly, and then underneath that we'll attach this thing. So many attachment points. But there. That helps. So let's take the RCS out now. We'll have maybe 72. Hopefully that's enough. This is not going to dock with anything anyway. Now I just need the batteries again. Just put them on the outside of that 4 times, please. And then we will move them in, because there's still plenty of space between these panels. In, and then we need the engine back. Same story again. It's easier to do this. Now let's just get the alignment back. 1, 9, 1, 5, 1, 4, 1, 2, 1, 1. Okay, 13 is the closest. There, wait. It's so fine. There, 0, 0, 5. There's the closest. So we'll have a minuscule offset, but nothing really to worry about. There, it's back again. It gives us 433, which is even better. Now we don't have any... No, we do have wheel authority here, so that's fine. I'll keep it because I think we're going to need it. Now we just need to have this, but now this is going to be a problem because we need the RCS in 4 times symmetry. That's where the 6 time panels are better. How to solve that problem? Well, don't even know where I put it now. Take this away. So it must point. See, if I do that, it's going to be 8 times. No, so we're going to have to do this 1 by 1. Eesh. Then it must point straight up in line with this panel. So maybe then we'll just put it on this panel and then move it. Right, let's try. Okay, that's something. I'll do this again just in off-camera mode, so you don't have to sit through all of this, but you get the idea, comrades. Comrades, I found a better way. We attach it to the tank underneath in 4 times symmetry and then we just move it up. Let's hope this works. Then we just have to move this one back out as well, and now of course we have to sort out the way that they overlap. So again, I don't want the nozzles to clip into each other, so maybe we have to move them out. There, that's it. I won't worry more than that. There it goes, so it can do the full rotation. We don't have a fore and aft though, so the aft is the easiest, of course. We saw that one has only a sideways one on the video, so we will use a set of... Do we need more than 2? Let's take 4 again, just for the sake of it. Now I need to get underneath this panel, which might be semi-impossible. Yeesh. No, I just want 4 times. Now it's attached to the engine, but okay, there we go. Let's see if that works. Now move them out there and up a bit. We'll just have the ring show again, like that. There we go. So we have forward, but we don't have backwards yet. Now, in this case, I'm going to improvise. We didn't see a backwards RCS control, but I'll put one. Oh dear, same problem. Let's get into the tank again. 4 times symmetry and snap, point a bit forward like that, and then we'll just move that out. Oh no, no, it's not gonna move out properly. Okay, well, forward and then back again till we get something that approximates it. So that's not clipping the nozzle, and it's free from the edge of the capsule. If we just follow the line, it's proper. So that will be it, comrades. There's our control. So we now have full control of the RCS. We just need some kind of power. Let's put 2 fuel cells on, just because having one is not making any account of redundancy. And we do want the thing to be roughly balanced. And then we just move it back out a little bit. You see, I can be the chief spacecraft designer for South Africa, don't you think? Maybe a different career, a career change? There, that's it. So, 374 meters. I know it's very little, but we don't need to dock with a station right now. We just need to get into an orbit. So, what do we call this craft? We don't even have a name for it. Well, since that other rocket is going to be called the Cheetah, what kind of animal name could we use for this? I know even KSP likes animal names for the engines. Flea, Mammoth, okay, not the Hammer, the Poodle, the Wolfhound, all of that sort of thing. So what's a South African animal? Well, I'll think a bit, comrades. We want something elegant. Comrades, let's be uninspired and just call it the Leopard. So we have the Leopard and the Cheetah eventually working together. That makes a bit of thematic sense, sort of ish. So Leopard 1 and save. So what more do we need here? I think we're fine with everything. Let us just move this up and attach it to the RSA 4 and see if we can get orbit here. Maybe. Don't save. So where's the RSA 4? I even made an RSA 4B by using the RSA 3 first stage as boosters for the 4. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. No, I didn't want to load it. I wanted to merge it. Luckily, I did save the Leopard. Always save your games, comrades. Always save. RSA-4, please. Merge. Now, do we need the 4th stage still? Probably not. That's unnecessary weight. So let's get rid of the 4th stage. That's for satellites anyway. Now, how are we going to attach this thing? Maybe the best way will be to use one of these decouplers. Now, attaching it is not going to be the easiest thing. Or is it? Well, it's the easiest thing. Now we just need some kind of plausible way that the craft attaches to it, because it's hanging in mid-air right now. There, so it's attached to its mounting there. And then we don't need another decoupler, so we'll just put the fairing there and then try and edit this around that. No crew escape system yet. That's a problem. Surely you would make a crew escape system if you're using a crewed spacecraft. Let's delete the fairing for now. Maybe we can just use the one we have already. The launch escape. It's massive, I know. It's the Apollo equivalent. Come on. But since we've licensed the capsule from the USA, we might as well have licensed the escape system as well. So we'll put the thrust limit quite low because it's a small capsule. Then we just build the fairing and try to make it look somewhat nice like that. I still don't like the way this bottom fairing bulges out. Let's edit the top Why doesn't it attach straight forward like that? Could I do anything about it? That's the question. Don't want this. I don't want it going outward. I just want it going straight up. It's a pain. Let's close it just for now there. Maybe it can attach to something like a strut. I'm not sure. Probably not. Edit fairing and... it still goes outwards, you see. That's the problem. Just there, please. Right there, you see it jump. Such a small thing, but so unnecessary. Giving me stress here for nothing. Well, let's just close it somewhere, just for now. Placeholder again. What could we use? Difficult. I guess we'll just stick with what we had. Right there. Goes out very slightly, but it gives such an uneven line there. I hate it. I hate it. What if we put a cross section right there? You see, if we bend it in, then the outside bends as well. It's not gonna work. No, let's just stick with a simple answer right now. Let's test the whole thing anyway. If someone has a suggestion for that, please let me know. So we fire the thing. It still says negative thrust to weight. It's not even 1 yet, but we know it should take off. Probably we should make this fairing separate anyway. The thing sliding out like that would probably not work in real life. It'll probably burn up the fairing as it goes out anyway. So we'll say it's staged, but two sides but not clamshell. Doesn't matter, it'll just crumble basically. It's just there to give the diameter. Then after that, after the burnout of the second stage, we separate the fairing on the top. So there, let me think now. Maybe it would be better to do the same thing we did with Apollo. Yeah, but now we've already got this ring here. I don't want to take this fairing away, because then we could put the fairing there upside down. Maybe it could still attach to this one. Let's try it. So it will go out, but now how do we make it the right diameter? Nope, it's gonna take trial and error. Okay, that fits nicely. Why can't this bottom one? Then we just don't have a fairing there. Then this thing... Uh-oh, we're having problems. It's freezing. No! Problems. The game is crashing. What? No, I'm gonna have to end the recording just in case. If it is crashing, I'll just build it back to this point. Right, comrades, we're back again. I'm really hoping that recording is now not corrupt because it didn't end properly. Very weird, the music is now playing again, so KSP was making a mess up there. This is the first time in years that I've had a crash like that, I have to say. Let's just save this thing now again before anything else happens. Yes, well, let's hope I can salvage that recording. If you're seeing this video, then things turned out okay. Generally, Bandicam is good for stuff like that. So anyway, we have our first stage here, then it separates. Then we have the second stage. I just have to make this one staged again. 2 sides, or make it 4. Leave it without the clamshell. Then we have this whole thing. This is where we stop now. So where is this thing? We'll put it right there. This thing is not staged actually. There is no fairing there. But this one is staged. There we go. Although no, it's not staged, it's just pulling the whole thing away here. Now actually then, to make this work properly, don't crash, we have to put a decoupler there. Then we don't have to use the shortcut keys to operate this thing. Edit the fairing just nicely to the bottom there, please. This one cooperates. Don't know why the bottom one still doesn't do that, but anyway. So then, now it's messed up the staging again. So the 4 will fire, that bottom one fires. Hold up. Okay, put that one in there. That's right, that's all right there. Then that one goes. Then this one will go. Then our... Oh wait, we still have an upper stage as well. The 3rd stage. So that decoupler there must go first. Then we'll have the 3 there. Then that one's engine, then that one decouples and then it lands. Safe, let's hope so, comrades. It's cutting it close. It's under 4 kilometers of delta V, so the orbit is not going to be the most controlled one, but it will be something if it works. So let's say the abort is of course fire the escape thing and separate the decoupler there, if I can now just get it, not the engine plate. That small decoupler that we have here, this one. Decouple there. And also, no, that's fine because the fairing is coming with it. So that will be that. Then I think we're ready to do our first test, comrades. Let's hope it works out. We could have a small, like, South African mini-series as well. I'll put it on its own playlist, the previous video and then this one, and then in the future we can build those cheetah rockets and possibly a space station as well. So with that said, let's get our crew. They're already there, Agavin and Agabo. So let's hope it works. We'll go back to the desert launch site, or the desert launch site, and see. So there is our RSA-4 rocket with its crewed version, so I guess we'll call this the RSA-4B. Yes, even though then we don't have extra boosters, but if we need them we can put them on. But this will be the RSA-4B. So lock the SAS, and I don't know if I'll be able to find any South African music that I'm allowed to play here for you, but I'll just probably not speed it up, but I'll play some music for you while we launch. Let's hope it works, comrades. 5. Let's go from 10 again. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whoa! Abort! And do what you have to do. Phew, look at that thing go there. I guess things didn't work out. At least we know the abort system works. Well, so much for the first South African crewed rocket launch. It's still going up there. So what went wrong? I think it's the issue with struts again. I'll just have to check that they're still working properly. Obviously they're not, but let's go back to the VAB. So the issue was these solid fuel boosters went haywire again. Yes, it's because there's so many of them. Let's use the strut technique again. First of all, yes, never mind. Let's put this on first. All of them will attach to that. And then also please auto strut. Don't know why we didn't have auto strut. Auto strut this thing and auto strut the craft as well. Actually, this one I'll auto strut to the root part, to the top. Okay, save. Let's try again. Right. SAS on 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whoop, not good enough, comrades. Not enough fuel to make orbit. Just too heavy, that's the thing. Well, I'm still very happy with the whole craft and everything. But I think we're gonna need a set of boosters on this thing. We could have just said, okay, let's add another fourth stage, but it's gonna be too weak to do anything anyway, since that was an RCS fueled stage. So let's use the boosters anyway. I think it's a good idea. Let's go back to the VAB. Right, comrades, let's make sure that we have saved this. Now let's go back to our RSA 3 that we built yesterday. That one. We'll merge this. Now, in this case, it will make sense to use the technology here, because we saw yesterday anyway, they did that with each successive RSA rocket. The 1 was merged with the 2, and the 2 with the 3, and the 3 used the same stage in the 4. So we'll use the RSA 3's first stage as a booster for the new RSA 4. So let's just take it there, throw this thing away. Now, can we do this? Let's find out. We'll use 4 of them. They burn for 52 seconds, so it's something. We'll use the small decouplers, and obviously attaching it is a problem because it wants the rest of the thing, so we'll use the same kind of nose cones that Cheetah rocket, the second one that we saw. It used the sharp nose cone, so we'll do that as well. We'll stay with the theme. So that is this one, the A. Attach it there. Attach this stuff underneath there. If it'll work. Like that. Take the whole thing up. Take away the wings. Then move the whole thing up so that at least the decoupler sits in a more logical place. Like that. Can we do it more? No, that's the extent of it. We see the struts are still in there, but they're attaching to the nose cone now, which is good. Now we'll just take the whole thing and move it up. So the radial decoupler, and put it so the engines are more or less level. And maybe we'll just auto strut this structural tube just to give it extra support there. And that will be that, comrades. I think this should now make it, but of course our staging is all messed up. So the separation will happen after 52 seconds, but the core stage of the RSA 4 runs for 72 seconds. I think. Let's just make sure now again. This one says 1 minute and 13. No, but that's this one. Eesh. Where are these boosters now? They have to burn here as well. Is there more of them? Yes, still another 4. And then it decouples. So 52 and then another 21. That makes sense. So that's just under 74 seconds. And then we go on from there. So I'll put these on the outside of the boosters. Okay, are we ready now? Maybe. Well, rocket development is a risky proposition, comrades. So save this again. I'll just put a note in here in the description that this is the RSA 4B. So this is the human rated variant. Save again and launch. No countdowns this time, comrades. Let's just see if it works. Comrades, we made it. We have still 266 meters per second of delta V left, which is of course enough to return to Kerbal. And yes, that's it. We're not going to be docking to any stations with this kind of rocket configuration, but that's where the Cheetah rocket will come in. But there we are. I have to say, at last our development work has paid off. Let's rotate this thing. And there we go. South Africa in space, comrades. Agavin and Agabo become our representatives. Wish that could have been me, but anyway, I won't even bother now going back to the ground because that should be pretty straightforward. But yes, in the future we can take this whole development strand further. That should be really interesting. So now we've actually got another launch vehicle apart from the Apollo and the Soyuz and the shuttle. So there it is, comrades. Sort of it's fictional, but it's based on semi-reality. That's the best I can put it. Anyway, comrades, I hope you've enjoyed this, and let me know if you think they should appoint me as their chief designer. Anyway, have a fantastic day and weekend, comrades. Thank you for watching.